What mysteries lie beyond this password screen? Oh, another part of bloody Coyra, the warrior sage. And I still can't take my clothes off. Rubbish. Let's try again. Do you like pinball? Do you like pinball where you can't actually see what you're doing? Then you're a bit strange. But Invision is the game for you. Yes, this is a fairly standard pinball game produced using the Pinball Construction Set, a very early piece of games production software released for pretty much everything. The Apple II, MS-DOS back in the day, the Atari 8-bits, from 1985 I believe, or at least for the C64 version. Seems solid enough, seems like decent physics and everything, but, well, you can't really tell how great they are because you can't see what you're bouncing off. Oh dear. So let's get to the meat of this month's games. This is Arac, aka Spiderbot in the US I believe. A very strange little platformer. The aim of the game is to, in the longer game at least, there's a choice between long and short games on the title screen, is to collect the parts of the Spiderbot. Having got all of them, we can then turn into the Spiderbot, a diagram of which is now at the bottom right there, and this will allow us to zoom up into the ceiling and to destroy a reactor of some sort. In order to do this, we have to capture a bunch of animals in our net here in order to do various things. They can burrow through walls and help you fly up into tall areas and that kind of thing. Trouble is, it is remarkably fiddly in order to capture them, and fiddly is the order of the game here. The jump mechanic is very strange. You have to pull down and push up again and get the timing just right, otherwise nothing will happen at all. The collision detection of the platforms is a bit weird. You're never quite sure what actually counts as solid ground or not. And the whole thing is just doesn't quite have the execution to pull off what is actually quite an interesting little idea, or at least compared to your bog standard platformer. See, it's taking me around 3 or 4 attempts just in order to jump anywhere at all. This wall to the right here is theoretically one we can burrow through if we have the right animals. In fact, if we have that guy there, who I'm trying to tempt out and failing horribly. Let's show off what this guy does. He bounces around and theoretically protects you from enemies or something. Yes, this is just a bit too fiddly for me to bother persisting with. It's a nice idea, but the execution's just a bit too crappy, to be honest. Anyway, on to the more interesting one of these, the two big games this month. This is Shellshock, and it's an interesting game, not really for what it is, which is, as we will soon see, a fairly bog-standard Commando clone. The interesting thing about it is there's quite a lot of information on this floating around online, including the developer popping up and, well, kind of apologising for it. Because it's kind of, well, a microcosm for what was going on in the C-64 at the time. Namely, we have grenades. They're a bit crap. Yes, beyond belief who published this, or were going to publish this, had gone out of business or pulled out of the C64 side of things. So basically just threw the finished game at Commodore format in order to try and get a bit of extra cash. This is a full game, theoretically fully professionally released game, that they just didn't know what to do with, really. The other thing is that it was apparently programmed in a grand total of 6 days, another programming team having let them down. So it's full of little annoying bugs and game design decisions like that, where people just plow in from the top and you have no hope at avoiding them whatsoever. And again, and for the third time. Considering all that, it's remarkably fully featured. Nice little swimming through the water there. I'm really not impressed by these grenades. You can't just go around with the fire button held down either, because you have limited ammo and it will chew through it very rapidly. So the result is actually a fairly slow and thoughtful game. You have to nudge around and try and work the angles in order to kill everyone. Those bubbling pools in the water there are actually hidden guys who will pop up and shoot you. It's sort of suffering from the Arnie disease, that it becomes more of an avoid 'em up rather than a shoot 'em up. Yes, you can see it's a little bit glitchy, with the status bar wobbling around a bit on occasion. There was no time for a proper round of bug fixing. And there I think we have one of the more infamous bugs with this. The bullets don't scroll properly, with the result that if you are scrolling upwards and the guy is shooting horizontally, the bullets will follow you around and kill you horribly. There was apparently a possibility of them making a Shellshock 2. The original developer of the game wrote something about it where he carefully managed to avoid that banana bullet problem by making the game scroll horizontally. How to deal with this guy? Can I shoot through fences? No, I can't. Can I play the diagonals? No. Yes. Finally. A remarkably cheerful skull there. Yes, if this had just been tightened up a little bit, this would be an entirely adequate little commando clone. It's, oh, I died. It's largely there. It all vaguely works, apart from game design problems like these guys swarming in on you. And it is a bit of a shame, but it does give you some idea of how fast things were collapsing on the C64 at this point. even for the more die-hard elements, which is pretty much the only people who are left reading the magazine at this point. I died somehow! All very abrupt.